Hi people, it's me, Anja. My pronouns are she and her, and welcome back to my channel for a new video. I love talking about middle grade books. I love reading middle grade books because things that you learn as a child really impact the ways that you live as an adult. For example, for me, I wish that I had learned about queerness and consent and body autonomy and stuff like that, and I wish that I understood them at age 5 rather than understanding them at age 15. I don't know if that really makes any sense, but basically I love reading. I love reading about children in general, and I'm just so excited to recommend these books, especially at an age where people say that middle grade is dying. Let's bring it back. Resurrect it. Let's keep middle grade alive. It is so important and necessary for representation, for education, for children. So anyway, these are my favorite middle grade books that I've read so far this year, and the first book on this list is called Molly Out of Water. This book is one of my 5-star favorites of this year, and it's absolutely so amazing and so well done. It is a middle grade contemporary in verse following a young main character who is struggling to regain her magic after a hurricane destroys her home. This story is absolutely so fantastic and it's so good. First of all, the queer representation is amazing, and it's excellent and it's brilliant. The writing is so good, and it's so lyrical and it's so pretty. The characters are so well developed and so distinct. I love the friendship. I love the found family. This book is excellent and it is so good and it's so awesome. I will gladly read more from this author in the future because they are so talented. This book is amazing and it's awesome and it's brilliant and it's so clever and it's so well written, and I need more people to talk about it because I absolutely devour this book. It's so good. I cried maybe a few times during reading this book, and yes, my period started the next day, but that's unrelated. This book is excellent and it's so good and I really enjoyed it. So anyway, with that said, I will definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called The Secret Library. This story is a middle grade urban fantasy that follows a young black main character who discovers a secret library that leads to some family secrets. This book was so good. First of all, I love stories about libraries. I love books about books. I love books about family history and secrets and time travel. This book was so good. It was absolutely so amazing and it was so well done. I loved the world building. It was so magical and so immersive. The characters are so well developed and so distinct. The plot is so engaging and so intriguing. I loved the mystery. I was so invested in this book from the beginning to the end. Everything about it was so amazing and so well done. I loved getting to know the main character's family as she got to know her past relatives and everything, and how it was related to modern day in the main timeline. I don't know if that makes any sense, but this book was so good and it was so magical and I loved it. It's excellent. I need more people to talk about this book because it's so good and it's so awesome. So anyway, with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Lunar Boy. I've talked about this book a million times on my channel, but for those who don't know, the story is a middle grade urban fantasy graphic novel that follows a young transgender main character who's from the moon and finds home on Earth in the most unlikely of places. This book is excellent, first of all, and it's so good. Second of all, the representation is amazing and it's lovely and I loved it. I love reading queer middle grade because, like I said before, representation is so incredibly important and it's so necessary because it normalizes the queer experience and queer feelings and queer emotions and queerness in general, especially for young people. It's so important. But anyway, aside from that, this book is so well written and it's excellent. The writing is amazing. The characters are so well developed and so distinct. The illustrations are so pretty and so vivid and so bright. I love the colors. The world building is excellent. The romance is so cute and it's so well paced. This book is absolutely so amazing and I need more people to dive into it because it is excellent. It is so fantastic and it's so awesome. It's heartstopper for a younger age. You know what I mean? This book is excellent and it's amazing. And I truly really enjoyed it. So anyway, with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Lion of the Sky. This story is a middle grade historical fiction story that follows a young main character who must become a refugee after the British partition of India, and it's so excellent. First of all, the writing is amazing. This story is set in free verse, which I absolutely love. Second of all, I love reading historical fiction in general because history is so relevant and it's so important. And I love reading about refugees, especially since I'm the daughter of a refugee, but also just because I enjoy, like, the fish out of water and the found family trope. And I love reading about family dynamics and, like, adjusting to, like, a new environment, especially if you have to do that. If that makes any sense, the plot is so engaging, the setting is so well researched, the world building is amazing, the characters are so well developed and so distinct. Like, I understood the action and the emotion of, like, everything that was happening. This book is so good and it's so underrated. I think that too many people dismiss historical fiction as, like, being too boring or, like, too whatever, but this book is so good and it's so emotionally driven, and I just really, really enjoyed it. Like, history will always be relevant and so necessary and so important to read about because it's so relevant to modern day as well. Like, it's still happening in so many countries, you know what I mean? So anyway, the point is, this book is excellent, and with that said, I would definitely highly, highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called A Game of Noctis. This story is a middle-grade fantasy that follows a young main character who must compete in a deadly game with a group of misfits to save her grandfather from a deadly fate. This story is absolutely so fantastic and it's so good. First of all, the world building is excellent and it's so immersive and it's so magical. I'm not sure actually if this book is a standalone or if they're all sequels, but I will gladly read the sequels because this book is so good. The characters are so well developed and so distinct. As I've said before, I love found family. I love a good, solid misfit group. Like, the friendships are so amazing and so well done. The characters themselves felt so individually well developed and so good, and each of them felt necessary to the plot, which, by the way, was so engaging and so intriguing. This book is absolutely so amazing and it's so well done. I remember finishing this book in April and thinking to myself that this book is unique in the sense that, like, I've never read a book with such interesting, like, world building, which is rare to see because since I read so many books, like, some books just blend together and, like, seem like each other so much, if that makes any sense. But this book was so good and it's so unique. The world building is amazing and it's so immersive and it's so magical. I just really, really enjoyed it from the beginning to the end. So anyway, with that said, I would definitely highly, highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Sona and the Golden Beast. I still haven't figured out if her name is pronounced Sona or Sona. But anyway, this story is a middle-grade fantasy following a young main character on a dangerous quest, and she has magic in a country where magic is outlawed. And this book is absolutely so amazing. I know the synopsis that I gave is rather vague, but please note this book talks about, like, the lasting effects of colonialism, which is so important because, again, this is something that we are still navigating to this day in many, many different places, which means that it's so relevant and it's so important to read about in a lens for middle grade readers, especially in a lens for, like, fantasy readers as well, if that makes any sense, because I love fantasies that parallel with real life. Like, this book is amazing and it's so good. I believe it's also South Asian inspired too. Like, this book is excellent. First of all, the world building is so magical and it's so immersive. The plot is so engaging and it's so intriguing. The characters are so well developed and so distinct. I love the friendships. Like, this book is excellent. It's so gripping, it's so captivating, and it's absolutely so magical and it's so good. Like, this book is excellent and it's truly so wonderful. I just really, really enjoyed it from the beginning to the end. So anyway, with that said, I would definitely highly, highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called The Science of Friendship. This story is a middle-grade contemporary following a young black main character who's trying to investigate the science behind friendships. This story is absolutely so fantastic and it's so good because to me it was so relatable. It was so relatable to my middle school self who didn't quite know who her true, genuine friends were. Maybe that's because, like, in middle school, I wasn't diagnosed yet with autism, which is something I discovered when I was 15. But anyway, this book is so good. It is so reminiscent of middle school, of friendships, of growth, of like anything and everything. It was excellent. The characters are so well developed and so distinct. The friendships are so lovely and so wholesome. I loved the family dynamics. I loved the interviews. Like, this book is excellent. The plot is so engaging and so intriguing. I loved all of the different family dynamics. Like, the relationship between the main character and her brother was so good. This book is so amazing, and it's so well done, and it's so wholesome, and it's so well written and so well paced. The plot is so engaging. Like, I love this book so much, and I need more people to talk about it. So anyway, with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Splinter and Ash. This story is a middle-grade fantasy following two main characters who are both on a dangerous quest together to save their kingdom, which I know is a rather vague synopsis, but I love this book so much. First of all, I love the queer and disability representation. Like I said, queer and disability representation is so incredibly important because I need young people who are disabled and queer to know that their experiences are normal, and it's so important to read about characters where you feel seen and represented by them. You know what I mean? When I was younger, I couldn't find any books about disabled people of color, so I'm loving that there are more books representing people of all disabilities, of all races, of all sexualities, of all genders, etc., etc., etc. Because basically, the next generation is like living the childhood and reading the books that I wish I had when I was younger. You know what I mean? Anyway, I digress. The representation in this book is excellent, and it's awesome. And I love, like, characters who are misfits, who don't feel like they fit in. Because, again, that was me when I was younger. And sometimes now as well. But anyway, I digress. The characters themselves are so well developed and so distinct. The plot is so engaging. Like, this is the first in a trilogy. I'm so excited to read the sequels. The world building is excellent and so magical and so awesome. This book is absolutely so amazing, and it's so awesome. And I loved it so much. So anyway, with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. So in conclusion, middle grade is something that I read all the time, and it is something that I will continue to read all the time. And I think that it is so important to read middle grade and educate the children and the youth. I wouldn't go as far to say that children are an oppressed class or anything like that, but I do think that it's important not to underestimate the intelligence and the nuance of children and what they're reading and what they're thinking and all of that. So anyway, in conclusion, if you enjoy this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the egg emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!